Okay, let's dive right into this thrilling explainer of the June 2026 clash at Gillette Stadium. We are talking about a match where Paraguay delivered the absolute most dramatic upset of the World Cup round of 32. Let's unpack exactly how a seemingly invincible giant fell to a deeply determined underdog on a warm night in Boston.
Section 1, a historic World Cup upset. The gap in expectations before kickoff was just massive. Germany entered as heavy favorites. Julian Nagelsmann's side had just crushed Curaçao 7-1 to open their tournament. They beat Ivory Coast 2-1 and comfortably topped Group E. But then, you contrast that with Paraguay. They had a brutal start, taking a really harsh 4-1 loss to the USA. They basically had to grind out a 1-0 win against Turkey and hold on for dear life for a 0-0 draw with Australia just to scrape through the group stages in third place. So on paper, this looked like a total mismatch. One team had the weight of absolute expectation on their shoulders, and the other was fighting for sheer survival.
Section 2, Early Shock and the Equalizer.
The timeline of this match immediately defied every single pregame prediction. It's a timeline of pure whiplash, charting a frantic opening moment all the way to Germany's desperate fight back early in the second half. This match forced Germany into a deeply uncomfortable position right out of the gates. Okay, so the match kicks off, and literally in the very first minute, chaos strikes. Before fans had even settled into their seats, Paraguay wins an early corner. Julio Enciso takes it, and in the ensuing play, it's actually Enciso himself who jumps highest ahead the opening goal straight past Manuel Neuer. 1 minute in, 1-0 to Paraguay. It was totally against the run of play, it completely stunned the Germans, and it instantly forced Julian Nagelsmann to try and make some rapid-fire tactical adjustments from the sideline.
Now, what is really fascinating is that 79% possession number. Because despite falling behind almost immediately, Germany completely dominated the first half. They pushed, they probed. Before the break, Felix and Nemecha had a really dangerous shot from a Leroy Sané tee-up that deflected just past the far post. But despite all that possession, literally holding the ball for almost 80% of the time, Germany had absolutely nothing to show for it as they head into the tunnel at halftime. Paraguay's defense was bending, for sure, but it was not breaking.
The tension carried right over into the second half. Early on, Enciso actually almost doubled Paraguay's lead, but Neuer made this fantastic, spreading save at the near post to keep them in it. And then, finally, the relentless German pressure cracked the code. In the 54th minute, Florian Wirtz sends a beautiful, deep cross soaring over from the left flank. Kai Havertz manages to get across his defender and flicks a deft, perfectly placed header right into the far corner. Goal! The score is tied 1-1, and it really seemed like Germany was finally back in the driver's seat. Section 3, VAR controversy and extra time. Right, so here is where the match takes a wildly dramatic turn. We are deep into the unbearable tension of extra time, and German defender Jonathan Tah thinks he has won the match. He rises up on a corner, sends a thumping header into the back of the net, and the German fans absolutely erupt. But that joy was incredibly short-lived. The goal was heartbreakingly disallowed after VAR stepped in, ruling a foul had been committed on Paraguay's guardian goalkeeper Orlando Gil. This VAR call was highly contested. Even legendary goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel weighed in on it, noting the harshness of the decision and stating clearly that he felt Germany were on the wrong side of the call. Lots of observers pointed out that Gil actually seemed to have moved off his line early, which really complicates the whole foul assessment. But hey, regardless of the debate, the decision stood. The goal was wiped right off the board. That controversy just hung heavy in the Boston air as the clock ticked down. In the absolute dying moments, Enemiri fired a late shot for Germany, but it just wasn't enough. 120 completely exhausting minutes ended deadlocked at 1-1. We were headed to the ultimate test of nerves, the penalty shootout. And remember, Paraguay had already blown 2 match points earlier that allowed Germany back into the game, so the psychological battle going into the shootout was incredibly complex. Section 4, the penalty shootout. The tension built, kick by agonizing kick. Paraguay's Mauricio confidently scored first on Manuel Neuer. Then the pressure immediately piled onto Germany's goal scorer, Kai Havertz, and he missed. That early miss sent a massive wave of fear rippling right through the German squad. The shootout kept twisting and turning. Later, F. Balbuena missed for Paraguay, keeping German hopes faintly alive as things progressed toward sudden death. Which brings us to the absolute climax of the night, sudden death. Jonathan Tah, the very same man who had his extra-time winning header chalked off by VAR, steps up to the spot.
He has to score to keep Germany alive in the tournament. He runs up, strikes the ball, and suffers an absolute nightmare moment. He blasts his penalties sky high, completely over the bar. You could literally hear a pin drop in the German sections of the stadium.
And just like that, the door was left wide open for Paraguay. Outstanding central defender Jose Canale walks up to the spot, stares down Manuel Neuer, and confidently slots home the winner. The stadium absolutely erupts. Paraguay had officially eliminated Germany, pulling off a breathtaking 4-3 shootout victory. The underdogs actually did the impossible. Section 5. Analysis of a miracle run. To truly grasp the magnitude of this upset, we have to look at the collapse of a legendary sporting empire. When it comes to World Cup penalty shootouts, Germany has historically been an absolute machine. Just think about this. They played World Cup shootouts in 1982, 1986, 1990, and 2006. They won every single one of them. 4 shootouts, 4 wins. Perfect. That is, until today. In their 5th ever World Cup shootout, that perfect record was sensationally shattered by the valiant South Americans. So let's summarize the massive takeaways here. First, Germany's aura of invincibility from the penalty spot, it is officially broken. Jonathan Tah's sky-high miss is going to be etched into the memory of the German nation for a long, long time. Second, we have to recognize Orlando Gil. Paraguay's goalkeeper put in a heroic performance, anchoring the defense for 120 minutes against a relentless German attack, and standing incredibly tall in the shootout. Ultimately, his saves and Paraguay's gritty resilience turned a heavy favorite statistical dominance into the best ever World Cup run for this South American nation. As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to look ahead and ask a massive question. With the incredible momentum of this historic upset fueling them, can Paraguay keep the miracle alive in their next matchup against South Korea? It is going to be a fascinating tactical battle for sure. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this monumental match. And hey, if you love high-stakes drama, be sure to catch our upcoming explainer breaking down Cody Gakpo's emotional goal in the thrilling Netherlands versus Morocco penalty shootout. You definitely won't want to miss it.